Jumping right into it. We have a very interesting saw today on the bench for Buck and Billy. Yes, it is Poulan Pro 455, and we have it apart. I actually was just going to get the handle off with a couple things and start making video like I normally do, pulling these things apart. But geez, next thing you know, in 10 darn minutes, boof, it just right there, it is in my hand. So away we go. Now, there was some discussion amongst a few of us that talk to each other about whether pulling 455, the Pro 455 had boost ports. Yes, it is. It's right there by my finger. There on each side right here and here are your transfers, and that's your boost port. Okay, really interesting. Boost port is on opposite of the exhaust, okay? So what we got going on here, which is way cool. Yep, darn air compressor started. I like a big compressor except for that. If you see on this piston, see that notch right there? That's on the boost port side. It's fed there. Now, they do make a difference. Boost ports really do. I like building saws that have them, quite honestly. You'll get a little extra juice out of them, you will. The boost ports, I believe, open just a little earlier than the transfers. They open first. I think it's so that everything kind of meets toward that end of the piston on the intake side is what it does. And it blooms and goes and pushes the rest of the exhaust gases out. That's why they work good. Now I'll show you something. Not only do they have boost ports, but there's a reed. Yep, the reed saw. Now, I had it on my mind to do some crazy stuff to this saw, but this is a really nice saw. So let's not get stupid. You guys have seen Buckin's P38 run. This is just really the next size bigger than that, really. It's like a P41, I believe. You guys out there probably know better than I do. I gotta look the darn stuff up sometimes, you know. I can't remember what all of them are. Especially stuff that I normally haven't built in the past. Now, we're going to be playing some tricks with the reeds because we're expecting any day some reeds from Boise. And I want to put 2-stage in it if they come in time. I expect they will. They've been ordered long enough. And they told me there'd be a 2 to 3 week delay or some craps. But we ordered them quite a while ago, so I expect they'll be along soon. I don't know what method of shipping they use, but when you try to use the tracking number provided, it wants to throw you sideways. So old school. If I don't like it, I'll just pick the phone up and talk to them. But we'll be getting them. Okay, what's really cool about this particular build is we're going to take advantage of what the saw already is. And we're going to take what it isn't and throw that out the window. And we're going to make it all is. These aren't a high RPM saw. Not like a modern saw. They work different. But what if we went ahead and turned these up some? I think they can take it, and I'll tell you why. They got nice strong bearings, nice strong rod, and that piston really doesn't weigh that much. Now, I could do some pretty neat tricks to this if I had a mind to, but I have another build in mind. I have another saw part that we're going to do some, let's just call it serious upgrades to, just not this one. We're going to make this run in the perimeters of the CCs that it already is with the parts that are already here and just see what we can get. Like I said, I don't want to do a butcher job on a really gorgeous saw like this. It's immaculate. I mean, this just, and this is the first one I've had apart. Never had one apart. First one I had in my hands. I don't believe I ever had a 455 in my hands before. So let's just see where we get into this. Okay, now what I'm going to do, and I see some of you guys, like with P38s, P41s, the 455, they share a commonality, quite honestly. The P38 transfers are really, let's just call them screwy. But these have got a pretty decent transfer. But they have something rather unique about them. They don't have a big primary. That is your primary. That's your secondary. There's your boost port. They're not big. Now, what I'm going to do is kill two birds with one stone. Okay? Now, I would like to see just a little more primary. I want to take advantage of the boost port cells, so we don't want to go too much. Because if we did, it wouldn't be the same. Just wouldn't. Experience tells me, don't screw with a good thing, just work with it. But I'll tell you what I want to know. I want to know exactly how this cylinder matches to these cases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get two bolts out. And I'm going to get the threads blown off. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some dye. Use some machinist layout fluid. I had to go to the red. I normally get the blue. I had to go to the red. When you get old, you know, your eyes. And I can see the red just a little better. It's something that works for me. I guess what I got to do is find my special little tool that I got laying here in front of me that I just had a second ago. I had to make a tool, actually. Right there. I ran into there with Eric's saw, that 394. It had a 3.5 millimeter. Well, my set of T-wrenches go from 3 to 4 millimeter, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I took one of my standard T-bars, and I ground it. Now, try to get them even if you do that. But I grind them in a taper, and then I grind the end off so it fits in. And then that lets me go ahead and finish this off. And I just break heads lightly with a file, and I got me a 3.5. And it's a good darn thing, because guess what? This poulan was 3.5 millimeter. Believe it? Yeah, I couldn't either. I didn't care for that much. I guess I got to get a 1.5 and a 3.5. I'm going to work on these because the bolts that hold the coil on were 1.5, and I actually scrounged around and found a 1.5 millimeter regular Allen, which is no problem, but I'm just so used to these, you know. We poured concrete this weekend. Yes, we did. We put a new front porch on, but it was like a foot deep step because somebody didn't have the concrete done. Same thing with the saw room. 10, 12-inch step going up in. It's like, it ain't so bad till you're carrying something, you know. And since how we're going to be bringing firewood and coal in here, we've had a fire in here a couple times, and I might light one today. It's starting to get kind of chilly in here. And we poured nice pads out front of both. In fact, the one out here, I ought to show you. It's kind of cool. Right in the concrete, I took a scrunch, my saw wrench, and I carved iron horse into it, and I took an old axe, double-bitted axe head, and I just kind of wobbled it around in there and messed up my concrete good, so I got me an old axe imprint in that. I'm going to paint the axe imprint. That's kind of neat. And so we're getting things done. So I'll tell you what, I'm really excited about this. I'm probably going to be one of these things that I'll just grab a little sandwich later and a cup of coffee and come right back out here. Yeah, and some gum, more gum, another pack of gum. And we're probably going to put this thing together today because I've been working on all these other saws that are much harder, like 66 Magnum. The 394s, they're tricky. That Blue Thunder saw, we got that over here on the bench. Got it almost together. I'm not going to show it on video again. I'll show it too damn many times. I'll show it running. We will be cutting. We got, I don't know when, guys, but we're got to get some cutting in. I don't even care if I get video. I need about 10 face cord of wood. That's not that much cutting. I can cut that much in a darn day if I want to. It's just getting there and doing it. But it is what it is. So, I'm going to jump right into this, and let's just see how we fare. I've never done what I'm trying now by painting layout fluid. I want to see how the ports match up. I want to see how much room I got to do, let's call it bright ideas. I think it'll transfer. Now, probably what will happen, this stuff will dry before I even get it on, so what I'm going to do is just kind of do a slobber job here and get this on. That red really shows up, don't it? Yeah, it does. Okay, so what I got to do, orient to the gut side, my exhaust, get the darn thing on. These cylinders kind of roll in. They're awful tight, quite honestly. They really are. And get me a couple bolts in real quick before it tries to haunt me. This ain't the best thing I ever did, grinding one of these, but when you got no other recourse and this is what you can do, you do it. A buddy of mine seen the other day there, obviously we had a few days we didn't make videos because we got kind of busy, and he says, geez, Harvey, says, your hands hurt or something? I says, yeah, man. He says, why are they hurting so bad? I says, these T-wrenches, I think. He said, well, you get yourself a little impact or something. I said, I ain't doing that. He offered to give me one. You know, I can't. I gotta feel what I'm doing. I really do. You gotta be kind of interested to see what the squish is on this. But the one thing I'll tell you, the combustion chamber on this particular saw happens to be quite small. It really does. Now we're not getting real crazy tight with this. I just want it tighten up. We'll probably find out that layout fluid works like a glue, don't it? Better not. What I'm thinking it's going to do is it'll actually tell me where the footprint of the cylinder is on the case, so I know where the cases and the cylinder need to be to match. I don't have a gasket, otherwise I just match the gasket to the case and kind of start from there. But I don't have a gasket. A little pair of side cutters. I probably can't wheel that quick enough to do what I want, but I'm going to try my darndest. Probably end up sticking this and having to stop a minute and put the flywheel on. Well, I didn't get it in for enough, I can tell you that. I don't expect to see a real big or a real thin squish. I really don't. .32. That's pretty good for me. I don't put as much emphasis on what getting my squishes tight is what you can, or even let's call it should, anything you want. Yeah, we can chuck it that cylinder in the lathe and save that if you want to. I'm not going to bother with the setup because that's just fine. It's just fine. I don't worry about 32. Now what I'd worry about is 17. That's not enough. I like to see older saws. I want to see 25. I just do. Things are just a little looser. Okay, the next step I got to do right here is I got to take a couple minutes. I might as well share these numbers with you, don't you think? The intake, we don't share the intake number because there's nothing to share it, so it's a read. We know what it is. It is a read controls your intake timing completely. When that piston changes direction, like as it starts up, the read opens, sucking air fuel into your crankcase. Top dead center, it fires, and when that starts to go down, that snaps that read shut, closing your intake. That's shoving your air fuel up your transfers. That's the way it works. So, my 160-degree rule for intake opening is thrown right out the window. All of a sudden, it is theoretically 180 degrees. That means half the cycle. The intake can be open. We know it's not. The reed will start closing. There's the tension of the reed. At some point, when that piston starts slowing down, will relax and close. But they won't close all the way. That's why at RPMs, them reeds need to be tight enough to try to control it, but not so darn stiff that when the darn saw is idling, that it just wants to load up. It just cracks, pops. But if you get your reed too thin, they'll really load up. But they run crazy on the top end. So what do you want? You want it to run good on top end? You want it to not load up idling? You know, you dirt bike guys know. You got your reeds. Sometimes your bikes get finicky and they just want to load up a little bit. You got to wring them out and you run them. Yeah, you don't have much fun idling either, do you? You dirt bike guys don't. It's when they're running. That's what counts. Okay, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to set up with my timing wheel. Okay, we are 0-degree wheels on. Due to the nature of the beast, you won't be able to see only one thing or another. So what we're going to do is the other. As we've discussed in many other videos, and I will do it again this time, you start at bottom dead center, locate your center, roll it to the top dead center. Now, there is another way, which Tin Man pointed out. You can use a piston stop, put it in there, and then bounce from side to side on the piston stop at top dead center, and just divide your number in half, and that'll be your center. I start right at bottom dead center, and I find that little sweet spot where it floats between 5 degrees forward, 5 degrees back, you know, and just make sure. It's got to repeat 3 times. Whatever method you do, if you can repeat it 3 times, you're good to go. Okay, so let's see. And I don't have a piece of paper and a pen handy to write this down, so I'm going to have to use a crayon. Get me a crayon out. And, there's a piece of paper here that we've been writing on. Here we go. This will work just fine. Got my little marker. So we'll know. Roll in the direction of the engine rotation. Okay. Now, it's kind of neat because, okay, we're coming up on 90, but I want to see first ray of light. Okay, that's where it opens. Exhaust opening. 102. So we're going to write that down. Okay, so it goes. It's open at 102. I want to see where it closes on this one, and we'll go from there. Pretty amazing. Okay, I'm going to get back through here and I'm going to check my wheel again. I think I might have just bumped something. But let's just see. It doesn't hurt anytime you get suspicious. Check your freaking saw. Yeah, we're still fine. So we're at 102. But I just want to make sure. Because you can't screw up. So it opens at 102. Let's see where she closes at. That's after top dead center, by the way. And right back to where the light goes away. Right there. So, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100. It right now is open 160 degrees, okay, with 102. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push some numbers a little bit. We want this to be a little bit of an RPM saw. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this one probably at about 97. Let me just put that down for question mark. Okay. I'm not worried about transfer opening timing on these because I quite honestly, I think they're fine. It would be nice to, I'll tell you, rough cut 2x4 and let you leave your dog on. So that sits on there. The dog's still on it too. See that? Just a piece of rough, well, it's a 2x6 what it is. It's just a piece of rough cut 2x6. Just for the heck of it, I want to see where the transfer is open. I just want to be close. I want to make sure it's not 20 degrees or some crazy old number like that. If you get where you're real concerned, slide a ring right up in there. Use the bottom of the ring to be at the top of the transfer, and just put your cylinder back on with your piston at bottom dead center, and just bring it up till it just barely touches that ring, okay? So, what we've got is the transfers. I'm on the wrong end of that, aren't I? Yeah, I am. I gotta go this way. Let's go to 102 about. Okay. See, if you roll that in the wrong direction, you're going to get a bad number on your wheel. You can figure it out by going, all you got to do is read the wheel backwards, but I really don't want to confuse you guys. So, let me do it right, and then maybe you can do it right. Okay, the transfers start opening right about there. And so they open, yeah. Okay, see, that's what I was worried about. These transfers open at 122. So that's only 20 degrees. We want that bigger than that. So let me come up with a number, and I'll share that with you here in just a minute. Okay, what it ends up is that 97 degrees is going to give me what I need. Okay, so I like it when a plan comes together. Because what we're looking at, if my transfers don't or work, they're too close to my exhaust opening, it doesn't give time for the exhaust to rush out. Okay, that's what happens. And it's already open the transfers, and you get air and fuel mixture mixed right into your exhaust if your transfer is open too early. You got to give it time to get the pressure out, transfers open, especially with the boost port, and let that finish shoveling it out. And then when the piston stops at bottom dead center, you get a rush of air back in. Now, that's where it gets important, guys. That air coming back in, that bounce back, is fresh air fuel. But if you have mixed your intake charge with your exhaust gases, you're going to get exhaust gases back in. It's not the same. So here's the breakdown. 97 degrees gives me 25 degrees total separation. Okay, you guys with the build race engine, lobe separation angle, okay? Just think of that. No, this is not the same. Just think of that it is like the same. You can change, you can have all the lift you want and duration. You start screwing with that friggin' center line, the lobe separation angle, and you can change the characteristics how they run. Two strokes are the same way, even though it's a whole different animal. Give it some time. Even if it's 30 degrees, it's going to run just beautiful. If you can do something about it and you want to raise it to 20, 25 seems to be a nice ballpark average. We're not trying to make an orangutan here. What we're doing, and this is a personal test for me, guys, I want to see with this saw what the factory could have done if they would have wanted. That's what's important to me. What could they have done? Okay, so you know where our opening times are. You know that with the reed controlling the intake, we're good. You know we have 30 thousandths squish. This is a safe build right now. We're gonna get a little unsafe with it here in a bit. Now that 97 degrees from 102 is gonna make that saw a little more rev happy. Okay, the ability is going to be there to be rev happy with that exhaust number. Keep this in mind. Now, if it doesn't have the transfers, it's not going to be as rev happy, and you're going to lose your torque. You can build your torque back in your transfers. Get them suckers opened up. You got a fairly slow transfer opening timing compared to the exhaust. So when they open, bam, just like that, it's going to shove, guaranteed, it's got time to shove that exhaust gases out. Okay? This is like a race cam for a heavy car in a quarter mile. This is what we're doing. I hope you guys got that one. And we are going to really concentrate on these transfers. Now remember, we have a crank rotation. We got one transfer that feeds really good from the windage of the crank. The other transfer is on the reed side. Now, that doesn't get fed as easy. So, when I do this, I'm going to concentrate on getting more air up the transfer that doesn't get enough air. That's what we're doing. And we can tell that by reading the top of the piston. Okay? Now, I'm going to take the cylinder off, and let's just see how much of a mismatch we got. Okay, what I did for you guys is I drawed with my marker black lines. I don't know if you see them. That is where my cases met, is where them black lines are. That's how much I can take out to be able to match. And that's probably all I'm going to do is match it. Now, on this boost part, the sides, there's room to go, but it was Very little right there. Okay. Now we got to have a sealing surface. I'm not going to go into that. I want a sealing surface. I'll go ahead and take that out there. That gives me rooms to do some really good port work, okay? Okay, so this is where we're at. I'm going to get busy grinding. And we will see you tomorrow with another video. Thank you so much. Goodbye.